In the spring of 1999, my brother, my friend, and I decided to head up north to a little town called Omer. We loaded up our fishing gear into my truck and rolled out. A small river flowed through town there. They had an annual white sucker run and a large party to celebrate. Along the edge of the river, they had dipping nets set up. You could rent those nets for $10 and dip suckers for a couple hours. We would get some beer and some barbecue and load up a few garbage bags full of white suckers. Every now and then, we would see someone net a huge fish. We asked a guy what they were, and he told us they were steelhead trout. That night at the cabin, we watched the old outdoor show Michigan Outdoors on TV. They said that the steelhead rainbow trout were running at a place called Tippy Dam. That was on the other side of the state. Back then, we didn't have GPS or cell phone. We had to navigate by map. We decided in the morning we were going to cruise across the state and fish Tippy Dam. After the 3-hour drive, we finally arrived. There was a long set of stairs leading down into the unknown. Fishermen were heading up and down them. We decided to follow. I can still remember my first sight of the river. I was in awe. Steelhead were everywhere in the river. I can still remember the date. It was March 31st. I know because I bought my new fishing license that day. The weather was beautiful. It was 70 degrees, which is very uncommon in March in Michigan. Anyhow, we got to the river and walked past all the people that were lined up at the dam trying to catch spring steelhead. We hiked down and around the first bend and kept going until we were by ourselves. My brother Jerry cast out. His first cast with a white spinner, he hooked a steelhead. From that point on, we were 100% addicted. He didn't land that fish. It jumped high out of the water 3 or 4 times and threw his hook. As we fished, we noticed a guy was catching fish at this corner spot over and over. The next morning, we got up at 4 in the morning and decided we were going to beat him to that spot, and we did. We were the first people there. A couple hours later, the old guy comes down and squeezed in on the outside of us. We hadn't caught anything. Within a matter of minutes, this old guy catches a steelhead. We started talking to him, and he taught us all the ins and outs of how to rig up properly. I still use that same system to this day. We didn't have any luck at Tippy Dam. We were a bunch of new guys trying to fish. We didn't have the right gear, and we didn't have the right fishing poles, and we didn't know how to fight these powerful rainbow trout. We went back home and we gathered our thoughts. We went and bought everything we needed and made plans to head back up the next weekend. The weekend came, and this time we headed up to the Ausable River. This time we also brought my dad. When we got to Oscoda, it was still really warm. I think it was in the 60s. That night, the temperature dropped and we got a huge snowstorm. The next morning, we got up to fish, and we had over 6 inches of snow on the ground. The fish was still there. The temperature was dropping fast. We walked down there, and my dad caught one almost instantly. My buddy Brian caught one too. He was drifting flies up under logs into the spot where it dropped off. Dad was using wax worms, and I hooked a little steelhead on a wax worm. It was my first steelhead. From then on, we were all hooked on steelhead fishing. We got more family members in on it. For over 26 years now, we make the annual spring trip up there. Times have changed, and people have come and gone. These days, we do less and less of it. I bought my property, and we fish around the cabin. Occasionally, we still get that wild calling in our old age and head over to Tippy Dam to chase my favorite fish, Michigan's elusive rainbow trout steelhead. The end.